Hi everybody, this is Ruben who is going to teach you social science for 10th grade NCERT. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for coming to this class. I welcome you all to the YouTube channel. I would like to thank our correspondent sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because the one who made this teaching throughout the world, he is not very confined with our school premises. He wanted let others to learn the various concepts in social science. Okay, let us back to our topic, social science. The moment you hear the word social science, you all feel very sleepy, right? But the actual thing, it is not so. Okay, so we are going to enjoy and we are going to explore more about social science in our videos. So I am sure guys, so only by simply watching our videos, I am sure you can crack your examinations like anything. Okay, so entire syllabus will be covered in this videos. Okay, thank you all. So as I told you, my name is Ruben, who is going to cover the entire portion social science. So for the first, we are going to start up with civics chapter 1, power sharing. Fine. So power sharing, that is what the very first chapter in our political science, that is nothing but democratic politics. So when you hear what is called power, okay, when you hear the word power, obviously you will come across a lot, right? So the power is nothing but Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so many. Okay, so power is nothing but the word, it is all about ruling. So power, that power, okay, the so-called power must be shared. So why it has to be shared and what are all the reasons for it? Okay, we are going to enumerate and we are going to see everything in detail. So in order to explain that, first of all, we need to know why this power sharing arrangement and why it has to be shared. So in order to know everything, I would like to take two different case studies for that. So the one is Belgium and the another one is Sri Lanka. So with these two different case studies, we are going to learn a lot, okay, why it is important, why it is required to share the powers. Okay, so you may have a doubt. So when we share the powers, which is actually meaning about weakening of powers? Absolutely not. So we are not going to weaken the powers. Instead, okay, in spite, we are actually strengthening the power. At the end, you will definitely know about this. So the first thing, Belgium. So we are going to speak about Belgium model now. So Belgium's case. So Belgium is nothing but a small European country. It's a very small European country. Little, okay, it has a population and moreover it has border sharing countries and the area, everything. So Belgium is nothing but a small European country. It has a population little over 1 crore, little over. So you need to understand what is little over. That means just above 1 crore it has population, but the area is equal to that of our Indian state Haryana. Okay, so you might have seen our Indian state Haryana, no? It is actually just adjacent to the Jammu and Kashmir, which is very small in terms of area. But here it is not equivalent to that of the population. Okay, population wise we have no changes. Only thing, the area is same and it shares border with France, Netherlands, Germany and Luxembourg. Okay, so border sharing. The moment I hear the word border sharing, we need to know about our India also. This you might have studied in your lower classes, right? So India shares border with 7 different countries. It starts from Pakistan and it ends with Bangladesh. So in between, you might have studied a lot like Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So all these 7 countries are the vital one. So India shares border with. So Afghanistan shares very little border, Bangladesh shares very huge border. In terms of India, whenever we are studying about India, we should be more peculiar than any other data. Okay, so fine. So this is all about Belgium. So it's a small European country and it has a population. Okay, so various complicated population it has. This is the political map of Belgium. So here 49% of Dutch speakers. Okay, it has different regions. Let me tell you about everything. So here you will read about, we have different regions called Flemish, Wallonia and Brussels. Okay, so Flemish, Wallonia and Brussels. So Flemish is a region Okay, so it is the upper region in Belgium. Flemish region, there are actually just two different languages are spoken in Belgium, okay, excluding this German, because they are actually, it comprises of only 1%, so we no need to worry about it. So only two major languages are spoken in Belgium. So what are all the languages? That is Dutch and the French. So two different regions and two different languages. I am sure this is what I used to keep that in my mind. In the Flemish region, F, again F won't come, so definitely the language will be Dutch. This is the methodology, always in terms of social science I am telling you guys, you have to keep some small hints for the remembrance. Clear? So kindly follow that. So Flemish, so F, again F won't come. So the people who are living in the Flemish region will speak Dutch. So it is actually Dutch speakers. So their percentage is 59%. Good. And Wallonia region, in case, okay, the down region is said to be Wallonia. Here, obviously, they will speak. Okay, I told you before, only two different languages are spoken in Belgium. One is Dutch and the another one is French. Alright. So we have covered the major two regions of Belgium, and the another one, it is actually just 1% of German speaking. They are there in the Wallonia region aside. The capital of Belgium is nothing but Brussels. Capital of Belgium is nothing but Brussels. So in the Brussels, in general, excluding the capital, if we see the map, we will obviously know who is majority here. Majority is nothing but Dutch speakers, because they are actually 59%. And who is said to be minority here? 40% of French speakers are said to be the minority other than the capital. But whereas in the capital, we can find absolutely 80% of French and 20% of Dutch. This is the complexity in Belgium. Clear? So when we hear the word called, okay, so ethnic composition. So this is the ethnic composition. So composition, as we know, it deals with the occurrence. Okay, ethnic is quite common and at the same time very important term that you should know. Ethnic is nothing but people belonging to the same culture, interest. In lot many ways we can define them. That is called ethnic. Okay, so based upon their culture, based upon their dressing sense, and based upon their interest, we can classify those people. So that is called ethnic composition. So I told you before, there are just two languages are spoken. That one is said to be Dutch and the other one is French. So here, the moment you hear the word majority, what do you mean by majority? The one who is large in count. Very simple. Okay, that is called a majority. In terms of minority, we all know that minority is nothing but those who are less in count. For example, in case of India, if you take who is in majority, India is actually known as Hindu populated country. So the majority people are Hindus. What about the other religion people? Other religion people are like, Christians, Jainism, Sikhism, all those people are said to be minority. Okay, so always there will be a conflict if this is the scenario, like majority and minority. So they will immediately follow majoritarianism. So all about, we are going to see that in the next slide. Yes, this is what the complexity in case of capital. 80% of people in the capital Brussels are speaking French and 20% are speaking Dutch. This is what we have seen already. Here you need to know one thing, that the Dutch speaking people are in minority in capital but majority in the country, and the French speaking actually rich and powerful, which was recentered. So here in case of social science, I am telling you guys, you have to be very clear with the terms. So recentered is nothing but which has created a bad feel about such kind of language speakers. So that is called represented by Dutch speaking community. So this is the scenario in Belgium. So in 1950s and 1960s, a great tension was created between these two community people. Okay, so which was actually became more and more in the capital Brussels. So now we'll see the contrasting case Sri Lanka. Okay, so what happened in Sri Lanka? So far we have discussed about Belgium case. So this is how Belgian model was formed. Now we will be discussing about Sri Lanka. So what happened in Sri Lanka? As you all know, we are very familiar with Sri Lanka, which means an island nation. So Sri Lanka is nothing but an island nation. So in terms of India, I hope you all know India is a peninsular country because 3 sides are covered with water and 1 single side is covered with land. But whereas in case of Sri Lanka, here all the sides are covered with water. So we can call Sri Lanka as an island nation. Okay, so which is actually almost near to us. So near to the coast of Tamil Nadu. Population, it has about 2 crore population, and like other nations in the South Asian region, Sri Lanka has a diverse population. Here also the same, diversity is nothing but different type of people will be living in a country, that is called diversity. As you all know, India is also socially diversified country. So here different language speakers are there, moreover different ethnic people are living there. Ethnicity, I told you already, it is people have same culture, okay, same interest, same dressing code, all those will come under this ethnicity. Now we need to know the capital. Okay, so we have studied the capital of Belgium is Brussels. Similarly, the capital of Sri Lanka is Sri Jayavartanapura Kotte, okay, also called as Colombo. So here both are same, only legislative and executive capitals are differing. Okay, so this is all about Sri Lanka information. So Sri Lanka has got independence in the year of 1948, which is almost like India, children. So it has got independence in the year 1948, just an year after India. Okay, so just after India it has got independence from Britishers. Same Britishers had colonized. As you all know, what this mean by colonization? So colonization, this was a very great methodology followed by developed countries in the world, especially Britain. Okay, so British colonized several other countries in the world like India, Sri Lanka, and what else? South Africa. Okay, so these are all the countries were colonized by British. Similarly, Sri Lanka was colonized by British. In that, we have different complexity. Okay, so that I will tell you. Sinhala speakers are there. They are the majority people in Sri Lanka. Okay, so Sinhala speakers. Sinhala is a language which was spoken by many people in Sri Lanka. Okay, so Sinhala speakers 74%. Okay, they comprised of 74%. They are actually Buddhist people. And now Hindus and Muslims. Hindus and Muslims, mostly they are all Tamil speakers. Okay, so Tamil speakers, they are actually 18%. And now 7% who are both Tamil and Sinhala, but they are Christians. How the Christian population was increased in Sri Lanka? By the impact of Britishers. As I told you before, Sri Lanka was colonized by British. So wherever the British people had gone, so they have actually, told about Christ, Jesus Christ. So everyone started following it. That is the way Christianity came into India also. Fine. So this is the complexity. And Tamil population, if we have a keen look of Tamil speakers, so 2 subgroups which were Tamil natives of the country are called Sri Lankan Tamils. Okay, they are actually the natives of Sri Lanka, but just 13%. Indian Tamils also there. I told you 18% of total Sri Lanka. Okay, 18% of Tamil speakers were there. In that, 13% of Sri Lankan Tamil, they are the natives of the Sri Lanka, and Indian Tamils whose forefathers came from India. Okay, so India, I told you, it's a socially diversified country. In that, a state called Tamil Nadu is there. Sri Lanka is also actually very near to Tamil Nadu. So the forefathers had gone as a plantation workers. Okay, so I hope you might have known about plantation, right? So plantation is nothing but plantation. So here plantation is nothing but indigo plantation. You need to know that plantation is nothing but indigo plantation was done in order to create a dye. Okay, so in order to create dye, Britishers have made use of Sri Lankans as well as Indians. So many other people have been utilized for this work in order to create dye. At that time, it was a very famous business for them. So Britishers are almost, they are actually outstanding in many ways. Why I am telling this? They have planned in such a way and they have extracted the resources and the minerals from the colonized countries. Okay, fine. So this is the complexity in Sri Lanka. I told you clearly, the majority people are Sinhala speakers. They are actually Buddhist people, and the remaining are Tamil speakers and both Tamil and Sinhala and the different religion people we have seen, including the capital. So now, what happened which created a great problem? So in which country the more problem occurred? That is what we have to know. So two major social groups. So in Sri Lanka, why Sri Lanka and Tamil felt alienated? It's actually a very important question in terms of your examination. Okay, so you need to know that why this Tamil felt alienated. So in case of Sinhala speakers and Tamil speakers, so you can see the difference now. So Sinhala speakers are actually 74%. They are said to be the majority people. Okay, so they are the majority. Always children, always guys, when you look the majority and minority, they will definitely have a conflict. Okay, it's a well-known factor. So they will try to dominate other people, they will try to pull their down. So this is what the same thing happened in Sri Lanka also, between the majority and minority. The act of doing all these are called as majoritarianism. So majoritarianism. So majoritarianism is nothing but imposing the will of majority. Okay, if for example in India, so it is what our motherland, right? So whatever the thing can happen, but we used to compare that with India. For example, I told you already, India is an Hindu populated country. So in this country, the Hindu people cannot dominate or cannot discriminate the other minority people. It is unfair. Since India is a democratic country, so we are not supposed to do that. Okay, of course we are not doing it. Okay, so our India is somewhat a peculiar example in case of all these. Okay, but this was not done in Sri Lanka at that time. So they didn't respect others' feelings. So that is the main reason for the civil war. So they started imposing a lot of acts. Okay, so they have followed majoritarianism. So in Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948, the leaders of Sinhala communities. So in the Sinhala communities, what they have done, they sought to secure dominance over the government. So they started dominating other people like of their majority. As a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures. Okay, majoritarian measures, I told you, imposing the will of majority. Whatever they think, that will be implemented. Actually, that was implemented. Measures to establish Sinhala Supremacy. So they wanted the Sinhala speakers should rule the country, and they wanted them to be placed in several high positions in the country. So which created a field called alienation in Sri Lanka. And in 1956, an act was passed. So an act in the sense which is to disregard Tamils. Okay, so they have totally ignored Tamils, and which only recognized Sinhala as the only official language. So this is the problem was faced by Tamil people. The governments followed preferential policies. That means if you are from Sinhala background, you can definitely be placed in the government jobs or university positions, or you will be getting lot of privileges, scholarships, lot many. Okay, so they were given everything. Instead, in the same way, at the same time, the Tamil people were ignored totally. All their rights were forbidden. So the policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and the government jobs, a new constitution was stipulated. Okay, so new constitution they have made soon after the independence. They have started doing everything. So the state shall protect and foster Buddhism. So protect is nothing but in order to keep the religion, okay, in order to keep the language speakers in such a good place, and at the same time foster Buddhism, because I told you Sinhala speakers are totally Buddhist people. So they have implemented a rule that they can develop only Buddhism. Of course, there were several other religion people also were there, no, but they have totally ignored all those. So this created a great feel among Tamils, among different people in the country. So what happened? Simultaneously, subsequently, a civil war was created. Good. So just we'll back to the topic Belgian. Okay, that is what we have started, no? So in both the cases, they had similarities in many ways, right? So the population and the area small. Okay, in terms of when we compare Sri Lanka with Belgium, Belgium is quite small, but they have followed a wonderful methodology. Clear? So what they have followed elements of Belgian model. So they have derived, okay, so not like Sri Lanka, they have derived a wonderful methodology to keep up their positions. Okay, so the central government had implemented number of Dutch ministers shall be equal to the number of French ministers. So this is actually really appreciable, guys. Here we know that 80% are French speakers and 20% are Dutch speakers. Irrespective of the population, they have considered each other. Okay, they have considered others' feelings. So equal representation was made, and many powers of the central government have been given to the state governments. So there was no separate powers was rested with the hands of central government. They have shared everything, and separate government in Brussels, both communities, equal representation was done. So this was done in order to slow down everything, okay, in order to compromise the people, in order to stabilize the unity of the country. They have made all these arrangements. Finally, the community government was formed. So what was the necessity of community government? So it was elected by the people belonging to one language community. Okay, so one language community people will be electing this. So Dutch, French, German speaking, no matter where they live, wherever they can live without any issues. If there is any issues, definitely this community government will safeguard them. Okay, that is the very basic reason to create a government called community government. Okay, so these are all the different models have been created by Belgium people. Of course, we have seen that it was a very small European country, but they have derived a wonderful methodology to maintain the unity, to safeguard the country. So finally, they have derived this. But whereas in Sri Lanka, okay, what had happened? So in Sri Lanka, they didn't share the powers, simply they have implemented, okay, they had followed majoritarianism. That means implementing the will of majority. So which was resulted in a civil war. You know one thing, Sri Lanka had a very great growth, very great economic growth, which has shown such a wonderful growth, but soon after the civil war, everything was collapsed and they were under us, okay, they had gone so down. So this was the reason. So you might have understood the importance of sharing powers. So in Belgium, they have shared their powers, so it was growing. Do you know what happened? Belgium was chosen the capital of European Union. Okay, whereas you know several other nations, several other countries have came forward to become the capital, but Belgium was chosen for the capital. Okay, it was chosen. Moreover, the European Parliament is located in Belgium only. So it was famous for so many things because of the brilliant actions. But in Sri Lanka, they were lacking in several areas. Finally, it was ended up with civil war. Civil war. When we tell about civil war, you need to understand one thing. Civil war is nothing but the war is happening within a country. Okay. So civil war is nothing but a war within a country. Whereas a war, okay, within a country, if there is any conflict, it is said to be civil war. If it is between countries, we can say it is war. If in a war, more countries are participating, okay, it is happening worldwide, then we can classify that as world war. Simple. So now I hope you all have understood the class. So there are different reasons in favor of power sharing. Okay, I told you power sharing. So when we share the powers, it is not that we are weakening the powers. In turn, we are strengthening the power in order to stabilize the safety, in order to stabilize the unity. Prudential reason. Prudential is nothing but checking out the pros and cons. What is it actually about it? So when you share the power, helps to reduce the possibility of conflicts. Okay, so conflict is nothing but fight. So conflict is nothing but fight. So which helps to reduce the conflict. That is what happened. That is what happened in case of Belgium, because they have shared their powers so that they have avoided the conflict. They have avoided the civil war. But whereas in case of Sri Lanka, they didn't share any power. They didn't respect others' feelings. So it was ended up with civil war. Okay, super. So moral reason, power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. In terms of India, we can say that the sharing of powers will definitely again speaks about democracy. Okay, it is the very spirit of democracy. If it is a democratic country, their power must be shared. That is the reason we have different tiers, different levels of government. Okay, so finally we are at the end. So you have enjoyed the video, I hope. So don't forget to like the video and share the video. Please do subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for the upcoming videos. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next video. Bye bye.